Good morning, everybody. It's Danny and Wanda back from Deep South Homestead. We're out here with our sweet potatoes again this morning. We dug one row by hand, and guys, with my knee like it was, told Wanda, I said, this is going to be a slow process. I said, so I've got the Cub tractor, and I have a middle splitter that goes under it with a toolbar under here that goes up under it. I told her, I said, well, let's just take the middle splitter and let's clean all the vines off of the row and put the middle splitter on there, and let's go down through there and let's open the row up and plow the potatoes out to the side. Well, I've got a little bit of an issue. We're going to talk about that when we get over here. Okay, on the first row, we hand dug this one. And guys, we went back, we found those few little old taters there. I run back through it with the tractor just to make sure I didn't miss anything. And this is all we come up with, was 3 or 4 little old bitty potatoes here and one big one. And this is the row we plowed the tractor. This right here is what happened. These potatoes rolled out to the side and the back tires ran over them and mashed them and ruined them. And we got several down through here that it done that way. Here's another one here. The cleat on the tire ran across it when it plowed it out.
Those have to be used first.
Those will have to be, yeah, used first. And this is why we were hand digging them. Now, I don't have a fast hitch system to put on the back of my Cub so I can put a plow behind it. All I have is just the one under the front. And guys, I'm not going to be able to use it to do that with, because I can't afford to bust up all my potatoes down through there and run over them. And I still got to go back, because when it throwed them out, it covered them up on the edges out here. I mean, I'm still having to go back and get them out of the dirt. They're still covered up. So
we still got to find them.
I still got to hunt them.
Because see, there's potatoes all in here, and you don't see a potato one.
You don't see a potato nowhere. You got to they're up under the dirt here. We have to just kind of go along through here and look for them and see if we can find them.
We're going to have to take a rake or something.
I can see there. I have to go along up under there and see if I can hunt them out of the dirt still. If I got to do all this,
why not just dig?
I might as well just hand dig them. Because, I mean, I got to go back now and... Because you look through there, I see no potatoes.
And I saw hundreds of potatoes when you were plowing it.
Yeah, when I was plowing, they were just... I could see them everywhere under the tractor, and I don't see them. So they're covered up in the dirt. So I might as well just go get a rake and dig them anyway.
So we fixing to save ourselves some trouble and just hand dig.
We're just going to hand dig them from this point forward. It ain't worth it. Unless I can get a fast hitch system to go on the back of it with a wider plow, so I can just plow them and throw them out to the sides. You know,
behind the tires.
Yeah, behind the tire. It's not worth it. Okay, guys, this is all we picked up out of that whole row right here, is this little 2-gallon bucket and a half-gallon bucket. So now we're going to take the rake and we're going to go back and I'm just going to kind of knock the edges over. Well, guys, just as I promised here, Ms. Wanda got me from work, and she wants me to chop some sweet potatoes for her. And just as I promised you, I told you that a gentleman by the name of Mr. Al, friend of ours, has showed me a contraption that he made for chopping up sweet potatoes, pumpkins, whatever. Just big squashes, all kinds of stuff. He had it mounted on his back porch. So I come here and I replicated it. Now, my machete wasn't as good a one as his. I had an old one sitting in the barn, and I thought I would just use it. I'm going to get me a better one that's not so flexible. But he showed me this. He built his like this. The thing is fantastic. Now, what Ms. Wanda likes to do is she don't want to peel her sweet potatoes ahead of time. She likes to wash them and likes to have them cut into about 1.5 inch strips for boiling them, and then, well, before she does that, it makes it easier for her to peel the skins off of them. So what we'll do is we'll take this thing and we'll just set it here. Let's see, about like that right there. We'll just chop these sweet potatoes for her. Guys, I mean, this is absolutely zero effort. I mean, there is virtually, and I'm telling you, trying to figure out the best angle to do that for her. There is literally...
Now chop it into pieces.
You want me to do that before you peel it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It makes it easier to peel.
Okay. She likes to have them quartered up.
Yeah. That's good right there.
I'll put them over here in her bowl. I mean, there's... Guys, if I had known this years ago, oh my word. I mean, I'm talking about... This would have already taken so much time and wear and tear on your hands. I'm telling you. I'm going to chop off the bad part of this right here. There we go. See how easy that was? And we call these mother potatoes. These are the old big mother potatoes.
Now this is the difference between ours and Mr. Owl's too. You want to talk about those two before you get started?
Yeah. Mr. Owl, his sweet potatoes, see how purple this thing is? Ours is more of a, just a reddish look like this. Don't know what variety his is, but I know one thing. We're going to plant this one from now on. I mean, I'll probably plant a few of mine, but predominantly, it's going to be these. These things made like crazy.
They're
now,
sweeter too.
They are. They're a lot sweeter. Now, this is what we call the old mother potato. This is the old big one that's at the bottom. And a lot of times, them things will get that big if you leave them in the ground. But I used to just chop these up and feed them to the cows. But now, I've learned we can use them. Guys, let me just do this right here. We'll throw this end away. Let's get rid of this end. Look at that. Isn't that, to me, that's just like heaven on earth there. No, I mean, I'm using no effort whatsoever.
And it makes it in pieces where I don't have to do nothing but peel it and throw it in a pot. Cut that in maybe, yeah.
I'm telling you. This is where it's at. I have a groove that I cut down through it with my skill saw here. That's so that the machete fits all the way down and it goes beyond the cut so that we make sure that it cuts completely through.
Because if you didn't,
it would stop and not cut it all the way through.
Yeah.
And it will cut your finger off just as easy as it cuts this, because this is really, really sharp. You might not want kids to play with this.
No, you don't want it where kids can get to it.
I love it already. I'm going to try something a little different rather than cutting it that way. Let's cut one long ways and see what happens.
A little more effort, but not much.
Oh, ain't nothing, man. Look at that. Now I can turn it over. It makes it a little bit easier for me to cut it. Look at that. I'm telling you, this is where it's at.
Now how cool was that?
Tell me that ain't.
Look at that. All I got to do is run in there and peel those pieces, which takes just a few minutes, and I'm done. These are boiling. Otherwise,
otherwise you'd be sitting there peeling and peeling and peeling.
And then trying to force my hands through a knife through it.
Take a big knife and sit there and, you know, try to lay it down and push your hand through it and all that. No, this right here. Done.
Thank you, Mr. Owl.
Thank you, Mr. Owl. And Mr. Owl does not have a YouTube channel. He's just a friend of ours who
has a lot of ingenious ideas.
The man, he's in his 80s, but I tell you what, he is a world of knowledge. We'll leave this down, guys, like that. Now I'm gonna get a new machete, one that, cause see this one can flex. This is just a cheap one. I'm gonna get one of the stiffer ones so I don't have to worry about it. But I'm gonna just. And I have it made where it sits up off the table like this here. So if I get ready to move it, I can put my hands under each side of it. And I can, let me get rid of these. I'm going to show you something else. I also have it where back here where we're at, it fits over this right here, and I can come back here if I need to be over here and do it. I can do it, and it's not going to slide off. In other words, it's not going anywhere. That was another reason I designed it that way.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Isn't that? Took us what, less? I mean, if I hadn't done the video, I could have done this in less than a minute and a half.
Okay, so I have the water in them, on them, or whatever you want to say, and I just run through and pull that little bit of skin off. You don't have to have much of it off.
Isn't that a lot easier than a big old giant potato?
Yeah, and those are ready to, if you want to cut them in smaller pieces or whatever, I may chop them up as I put them in my boiler, but, and then it makes it so much easier just to do that. And they're ready to go in my pot. That's easier than having to handle a big potato like this and trying to do it.
Well, the rabbits would like them if we had them, wouldn't they?
Soon, baby, soon. About a week.
Not another week, we'll have our rabbits.
And they would enjoy our sweet potatoes.
Yep.
And then you just got your pieces, and you don't have to worry about it. And tell you what, I know some cows that would eat this too.
Oh yeah, them big babies that eat that. They've been eating sweet potato vines all for the last 2 days.
They'll have a tummy ache before long if we don't stop.
Yeah, we've dug all we're gonna dig for a little while.
And that's all there is to it.
Ain't that nice?
Makes it so much easier.
Well guys, we're in between rainstorms. With the big, we had 7 inches of rain. I checked my rain gauge, and we had 7 inches in an hour and a half. And I told Wanda, I said, I'm concerned about the sweet potatoes that's left in the field. I said, they'll rot, you know. So I told her, I said, let's just go up and let's check them today, because it was yesterday when this happened with the flooding. So we went up and went to walking through the garden, and it had washed my mounds down, and the potatoes, some of them were just sticking up out of the ground. And I told her, I said, this is no good. I said, the ground was wet, and I said, these potatoes will rot, and this is our livelihood. So what we done was we didn't dig the potatoes. We walked through the garden, and we just hand pulled what was sticking up out of the ground. And that's what we have here. These are what we call our Mr. Owl potatoes, because we got them from him. The dark red ones here. A lot of his made big old pretty potatoes. Now ours did good too. I can't complain. These are ours that we had. But these were all just sticking up out of the ground. And I can't let my potatoes ruin. I mean guys, you look at this. They're already getting a little bit of a greenish tint right there on the side of them. Just a slight greenish tint right there. From where they had been exposed. No longer, you can see where the dirt was around them right here. And that's only been 1 day, and these are already getting a little bit of a greenish tint to them. And I said, I can't lose my sweet potatoes like that. So we went through, before the rain is raining now, we just ran out there right quick between the showers, and we tried to just walk through the row. Wanda had the bucket, and I'm walking through the vines, I'm just grabbing what I see sticking up out of the ground. And I'm sure I probably missed some, but when the rain started, I didn't want these to get wetter than they were. So we just ran over here and got under the carport while we're...
And it's been doing this drizzly rain all day.
All day, yeah.
And this is like Gulf Coast weather anyway. Before a hurricane, we get this.
We get this before a hurricane, but that means there's a hurricane right in the Gulf right here. Technically, this kind of rain is what we get in February. We get these days... If it's
not hurricane weather.
When it's not hurricane weather. We get these days where it's just sitting here like this, just raining every day during February. We call that our rainy month.
That's good for our gardens because we plant in March and April.
We plant in March and April. The Lord just made it work that way in the deep south here where it waters the ground. And then by the time March gets here, the rains let up and we're able to plow the ground and we're able to get in here and put our seeds in. But this is unprecedented here. I mean, literally, we've been doing this now for over a week. We've been having rain just every day.
Almost 2 weeks. We've had some rain at least
We've had
every
an 1/8
day.
of an inch, we get a 1/4 of an inch, we get a 1/16 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inches. You know,
But that's good because our ground is staying moist where it was drought before.
we were in a drought, and getting that slow rain like that before all this heavy rain came in was good. But the downside to this is that now, you see how hard it's coming down out here? Now that the ground is saturated, if we get a storm in here, it doesn't have to be a bad storm. It can just be a Cat 1. It's going to blow all the timber down because the ground is saturated. There's nothing to hold the trees, and when the wind, the trees right now are loaded with acorns. This is a heavy, heavy acorn year, and when you have that in the south and you have saturated soil, it doesn't take but even a tropical storm can come in with 45 or 50 mile-an-hour winds, and if it gets to swaying the top of these trees and them heavy with acorns, they'll just fall over. And I've seen it. I'm 62 years old. I've seen this my whole life happen in the south, and I'm a little bit concerned about the latter part of the hurricane season this year. If we happen to get one in here, now, a tropical storm, it doesn't matter now. With the sandy soil we have, the trees will just fall over out of the ground, and that's one thing we don't need here is for our trees to get blown down on something. So. Because we got this dirt so soft, these are like really like super deep.
Pull all the vines up, no potatoes.
These potatoes are like way down. They're long potatoes. They go really deep. I broke this like 16 inches deep.
That was our potatoes, and they're long.
Yeah. So it wasn't the fact that it's just because it's Mr. Owl's potatoes.
Yeah, because these are growing long too.
It's just a simple fact we got the soil that deep and soft. Alright guys, we got the tack rag here. I'm going over this trying to make sure there's no dust on anything. These are sticky rags. You buy them at the hardware store. Painters use them all the time. We used to use them when we do the real fancy work where you don't want no dust on them. It collects any dust that's on anything. It's like screaming hot out here this morning. The humidity's like unreal. Any little imperfections, once we get the first coat on and it dries, we can come back, because the varnish is going to pull the grains out in the wood, and it's going to feel like sandpaper when you get through with it. So we're going to put the first coat on, and however many days it takes for it to dry, we're going to let it dry, and then we're going to come back and we'll sand it, and then we'll put the final coat on it. We'll tack it again, and then we'll sand it. I got 2 of these tack rags. Okay guys, we're going to be using the Hellman's. This is a clear gloss. It's sunlight resistant, rain and moisture resistant, temperature damages, all that stuff. I usually use these on front doors of houses and stuff like that. This is what we're going to be putting on the mantle.
It's going to be inside, but it doesn't.
Yeah. Really brings out
the red color.
Mm-hmm. And it's sucking it up too. We let this log dry really, really good before we started using it. Yeah, you can see how it really enhances it.
Brings out that brown in the wood and makes it pretty.
Yeah, it makes it really nice. And the first coat you don't have to put on, it don't have to be a heavy, thick coat. It just needs to be just a regular thin coat. Just make sure you get good coverage. That's the main thing. You just want to make sure you get good coverage. That way it really makes the wood look nice. Well, y'all probably wonder why I'm using such a small brush. It's because I want to be able to get in some of these little tight places and little imperfections in the wood and stuff like that. And I'm not worried too much about this part up under here, about the grinder marks, because this is going to be sitting on something. You'll never see this part. So wasn't really that worried about this part of it. Boy, it is soaking it up fast. I mean,
means it's good and dry.
it is some kind of dry.